What's going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about an area that not a lot of people are thinking about when they're planning their move to the Winston-Salem area. That's going to be Davie County. Let's get into the video. My name is Ramon Lomeli. I'm a local realtor and the team leader of the Smart Move Group brokered by eXp Realty here in Winston-Salem, but we do business all over the state. So if you're looking to explore areas just outside of Winston-Salem that could still be considered the Winston-Salem area, definitely the Triad area, but are not quite Winston-Salem that are notable, then this is the video for you. Now, fair warning, I could be biased because I actually lived in Davie County for a very long time. Most of my high school years, my early 20s, I spent in Davie County, and it's a special place for me. My mom still lives there. My sister still lives there. I have tons of friends and many memories were made there, so just keep that in mind when I'm talking about Davie County. And that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Before we do, though, I do want to remind you that if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything at all that I can do to help, please feel free to reach out. The number on the screen is my personal cell phone. It goes to no one else but me. Side note, as of recently, I have been getting a lot of requests to do like Zoom meetings or, FaceTime meetings or any kind of video conferencing meeting that you can think of, Google Meets or whatever that thing is called. I'm more than, willing to help you out. If you're thinking that you might be wanting to move to the area, you want to come up with a game plan or talk about what areas fits you best, suits you best, feel free to shoot me a text and we can set up a time to talk. I am going to leave some links in the About section so you can see homes in Davie County, no matter which town we're talking about here. And these are going to be links of homes that are actively for sale currently as we speak, as you watch this video. Those links automatically refresh, so every time one gets sold, it's not on there anymore, and every time one pops up as a new listing, it gets added to that list. But lastly, do me a huge favor and hit that like button, leave me a comment, but above all, subscribe. That means a lot to me. That helps keep me motivated to keep pumping out these videos for you, and I hear that it helps the algorithm push it out to more people. Hopefully that's true, so do me a favor and take care of that for me. So Davie County, it happens to be a county just 10 miles west of Winston-Salem down Interstate 40, so it's really easy to get in and out of Davie County and get back to Winston-Salem or vice versa. Now, at its closest edge, it's only 10 miles away from the Winston-Salem area. At its furthest, it's about 37 miles away, so no matter where you're going in Davie County, it's not a very big place, so you can get from one end to the other pretty quickly. Davie County is known for its laid-back country vibes and amazing schools. Now, there are 3 main towns in the county of Davie, but technically 4, and we'll get into why that might be. Now, in the last year, we've actually only sold about 600 homes in Davie County as a whole, and the average price that these homes sold for in the last year was $336,000 on average. Now, before you click away from this video, just realize that in Davie County, there are a lot of luxury properties and there are a lot of equestrian large, tons of acres, 20, 30, 40, 50, 80 acre properties, which are going to skew the numbers for the most part. We've also had a lot of new construction recently, so try to keep that in mind. I feel like you can find something decent, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, a little bit of land, brick rancher, in the 280 to 300 range rather easily. Now, it's going to be competitive because there's not a lot of property for sale in Davie County, but it definitely does happen. Also, good thing to note, on average, the properties in Davie County that have sold in the last year are selling with 1.73 of an acre, almost an acre and 3/4, so not a bad chunk of land, good land there. Now we're going to break down each area down specifically inside of Davie County. So let's start first with Mocksville, North Carolina. Now, Mocksville, North Carolina, my favorite in all of Davie County, just because, that's where I moved to originally when I moved from California to this area. I spent 1 year in Yadkinville, and then we went up 601 to Mocksville, North Carolina, which is where my formative years, I would call it, were. That's where I graduated high school, first love, first car, first breakup, first everything, first job, first getting fired, first getting in trouble, first everything happened in Mocksville, North Carolina. Mocksville also happens to be the largest and the fastest growing area of Davie County pretty easily. Now, I've personally seen Mocksville grow up quite a bit since I've lived there, but now it's home to big box stores. You got the Super Walmart, you got all kinds of chain food restaurants, you got some really nice personal or locally owned restaurants too, so there's tons of things to do. But because of its size and population, we're still talking about an area that's considered a small rural town. And I almost want to put like a warning label next to that, because every time I say rural or small town, I think people have the image of like tumbleweeds and like, cowboys in a desert town with no power, or something out in the middle of nowhere where you have no cell phone signal and, there's not even a gas station nearby. Mocksville, any part of Davie County is very rarely going to be like that. It's very, very uncommon. Most of Davie County is very well developed. You can get to a restaurant restaurant, a gas station, anything you need with relative ease. It just happens to be smaller. Now, if you're traveling in the outskirts of Davie County, then you might get into something more of like, not even that, but closer to what you're thinking, but definitely not in the main part of Mocksville. Mocksville also has a very cute and quaint downtown square. And I love that they have all kinds of restaurants, bars, shops, barbershop, all kinds of things. The courthouse is there. There's even a little monument. But I've been there many times for all kinds of festivals, whether it's the Christmas Day parade or any kind of 4th of July, or they have the classic car shows every other Tuesday or every other Thursday. I forget what it is, every other Monday maybe. And you also have Rich Park, which is a really good sized park when you take into account the size of the town. It's also where the fireworks show is. Usually it's crowded. If you're in the area, get there early because it gets packed. They got a baseball field. They got, walking trails, which are actually pretty good, pretty nice, well kept. Playgrounds, of course, and all kinds of, fun stuff, shelters for the kids. And if you're into wine, we actually are very close to the Yadkin Valley wine region, which is really close from Davie County. So we're going to have some vineyards, some wineries here. One of my favorites in Davie County happens to be Relo Vineyards. It actually made it on my, if you go back on my YouTube channel and find the video that I did about the best winers in the area, it's actually on there if you want to learn a little bit more about it. Davie County High School is the only real high school for the entire county. Now, I'm a proud alum of Davie County High. Great school. I loved it. It was in an older building back when I was going there. Now it's closer to the Winston-Salem side of Davie County, but still great school, great facilities, and they have a great football team. In the past year inside of Davie County, we've sold around 343 houses, and the average price of those houses that sold in the last year was about $290,000. Now, also keep in mind, I forgot to mention earlier that Forsyth County is going to have a higher tax rate than Davie County, so houses are going to be a little bit cheaper. You're going to get more land, and taxes are going to be cheaper. So if you don't mind the drive up to Winston, or even if you have to be near Winston, Davie County might be a great option for you, and Mocksville would probably be my favorite in these three areas. The other part that's hard to believe is that on average, you're getting about 2.2 acres per home that's sold in the last year inside of Mocksville, North Carolina. So Mocksville could be a great option for you. Now we're going to talk about the area of Advance, North Carolina, as well as one of the areas inside of Advance, North Carolina called Bermuda Run. Bermuda Run is a massive, grand, gated community inside of the Advance, North Carolina area. And I guess over the years, the people of Bermuda Run started voting to try to take control of their own government. So after years of going back and forth and negotiation, they were actually able to become their own town of Bermuda Run inside of Advance, North Carolina. So that's Bermuda Run, and that's kind of the fourth area that I was telling you about. But when I'm talking about this area now, I'm going to be talking about Advance, including Bermuda Run, so that we don't get confused here. As a whole, the area of Advance, North Carolina is known to be a little bit more upscale, the more upscale part of Davie County, I would say for sure. They do have their own small hospitals, several restaurants, a lot of fun local activities to do, but not a ton of commerce. There are not a ton of businesses are established inside of Advance, North Carolina. One of my favorite pizza places in the area, Tanglewood Pizza Company, is right there in Advance, or technically it's right across from Bermuda Run, so it might actually be the Bermuda Run address, but Tanglewood Pizza, look it up, it's great. Inside of Advance, you do have a few notable landmarks, like one of them being the Windmock. If you've lived in the area long enough, eventually you're gonna get invited to a wedding at the Windmock. It's a beautiful place, a historic barn on 27 acres. Like I said, they do weddings, it's a venue, so they do all kinds of events as well, but beautiful, gorgeous place. You also have the Truist Sports Park, which is massive. A lot of the soccer teams and baseball teams in the area go and play there. Now, one of the reasons that Advance, North Carolina is so popular, and maybe even why it's so affluent, is because it's the closest part of Davie County to Winston-Salem. So Advance, North Carolina actually borders Clemens, which is now Forsyth County. So it's the closest area that you can live in to be in Winston-Salem. So it's probably another reason why. And then Clemens actually happens to be quite affluent itself. So some of that bleeds over into Advance as well. So what happens a lot of times is if you want to live in Winston or in Clemens and you find that the property that you want is just a little bit cheaper and the taxes are better and you're getting more land, if you just go over that county line to Davie County, you'll find Advance there. If you combine the town of Advance and Bermuda Run, we sold about 241 homes in the last year in that area. If we take some of those outliers in price out of the question, I believe there was 7 or 8 over $1 million super high-end luxury listings in this area, then we're left with an average price of about $380,000. Now, I will say that on the negative side, at least in the past 12 months, the average homes that sold here only sold with about 0.67 of an acre. Still more than you'd probably traditionally get like in a traditional neighborhood, but you know, it's not acreage. It's not like what we're talking about other areas. Up next, we're going to talk about the most affordable, definitely the most affordable area in Davie County. Before we do that though, I do want to remind you that if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you know the routine, give me a call, shoot me a text, let's Zoom, let's conference call, whatever you need, I'm here to help. If you want to be my friend on any of the social media apps that we have out there now, my links are going to be in the about section. Some people feel more comfortable communicating through Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. You can email me, you can text me, whatever works for you. Don't forget about those links I left you in the about section, including the Winston Salem relocation guide and the links for homes for sale in all of these areas that we're talking about today. And finally, and maybe most importantly, do me a favor, hit that like button, leave me a comment, and above all, subscribe. That really helps me stay motivated to keep pumping out these videos for you, and it might help someone else find this video if they're thinking about moving to the Winston-Salem area. Cooleemee, North Carolina. Now, this place is not only really hard to spell, but it's also the furthest area away from Winston-Salem. It's probably the most rural area of Davie County for sure. So yeah, out here, you're gonna be about a 35 to 40 minute drive away from Winston-Salem, and it's a very small area with a very small population. And I really can't remember seeing any signage. The only way that you knew you were in Cooleemee is if you get to we refer to it as Greasy Corner, and I've actually never seen that on a map or heard of anyone, you know, there's no signage that says Greasy Corner. We just all know this, like, you know, the 2 stoplights in that area, that's the Greasy Corner. I don't know how it got its name, but ever since I've moved to the area, people refer to that as the Greasy Corner. I need to do some research and figure out why. If anybody knows out there why they call that corner the Greasy Corner in Cooleemee, let me know. I'm sure it's got some great history behind it. And there's a couple restaurants, a couple small grocery stores. There's a dollar store. There's a liquor store in Cooleemee. There's a school, but other than that, there's not a whole lot going on inside of Cooleemee. It's just, you know, very small, very rural. For a period in my life, I worked at a bank, which was in Salisbury, North Carolina. So living in Mocksville, going through Cooleemee to get to Ramon County, which is Salisbury, was pretty nice. So I didn't have to go around to the highway. I just kind of hit the back roads through Cooleemee. There is actually one landmark or attraction, and it's actually pretty nice inside of Cooleemee, and that's going to be the Bull Hole. And I haven't been there in ages. The last time I went, it actually was cleaned up pretty nice. They had benches, they actually had sand. So what the Bull Hole is essentially a river that goes through there, and there's a nice sandy spot down there. It wasn't always so nice, but now it's pretty nice, and they got trash cans now and benches, and you have sand area. So it's like a park, it's like a river park. Very small, very cute. You have to kind of walk through a trail. It takes a little bit to get down there, but not that big of a hike. And it's beautiful because you got the waterfalls, you got people swimming, you got people coming down the waterfalls, and you got people fishing. And so it's, you know, it's kind of fun. A lot of things to do. Back in my high school days, all the cool kids, we would go skip and go to the Bull Hole because no one would ever think to look for us there, because back then it was, you know, wasn't very well kept. There was just a lot of trees in the way. There was like a little trail, and that's about it until you got down to the water. I hope my mom doesn't watch this video. But yeah, so you do have that. It is actually pretty nice nowadays. I'm gonna see if I can find some footage of it. In the past 12 months, we've only actually sold 12 homes in Cooleemee, North Carolina. However, this is gonna be kind of crazy. The average sales price in the last 12 months was $132,000. And most of those are gonna be 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Sometimes you have a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, but smaller homes, but yeah, still super cheap. So let me know what your thoughts are on Davie County. Are you considering it, or is it not what you're looking for? If you're not a fan of the higher taxes that Forsyth County has, and you don't mind, you know, commuting 20-30 minutes to work, I think that Davie County is worth a look. But like I said, I do love Davie County. I am a little biased. And guys, do me a favor, leave me some feedback. I'd love to know what you're thinking about these videos, and more importantly, what you would like to know. If there's something that I'm not explaining or not going over in these videos that you think might help you understand what this area is like, whether it's this specific area or any of the surrounding areas, feel free to leave me a comment to let me know, or shoot me a text or send me an email. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.